Elaine, you're here today in Mr. Lauzon's office on behalf of the Labour Council. Labour is something that's dear to yourself, it's dear to myself, and especially here in the Cornwall scene. How do you reconcile, as President of the Labour Council and as a City Councillor here in Cornwall, the Loblaws plant in Quebec, which basically is going to be losing a ton of unionized jobs, moving to Cornwall for non-unionized jobs?
I don't feel I have to reconcile that. As a city councillor, I am overwhelming in support of any job we can bring in, and even as a Labour Council president, because I don't want you to think that we only represent unionised workers. The Labour Council advocates for all working people. For example, if you remember that minimum wage campaign about 4 years ago, like we were the ones who were instrumental in pushing Dalton McGuinty to $10 an hour. We didn't do that with union folks because union folks were at $10 an hour. So I don't see any dichotomy in my mind. A worker is a worker is a worker, and we work for all workers.
But ultimately, we're here in Mr. Lauzon's office today, which is a federal office. Federal issues with pension, and federal is the whole entire country of Canada. You're going to have workers who are going from working in the 20s to $30 an hour coming to Cornwall and working for 10 to 20, if they're lucky, at the peak. That's a huge loss for their pensions, especially if they have to do them on their own. It's a huge loss of income. It's a huge loss for Labour in general.
And I assume that they'll be working to improve their working conditions if they find them unsatisfactory. And when they do, I'm sure it just won't be the Labour Council. I mean, everybody would be willing to assist them because obviously it enhances the bottom line of the city.
Do you think Cornwall is starting to get a reputation of where you can take Quebec, which is a more labor, a stronger labor market, and have companies shutting down in Quebec and moving just quickly over the border because we're that close to Quebec?
Well, look what's happening with so many companies just pulling up stakes, and look at Caterpillar, what they've just done, you know. As I mentioned in my remarks, since 1980, globalization has been a curse of the gradual equalization that we experienced in World War II. And it's something that workers experience, and we just have to fight against it. So I think the response to it, the way workers can only respond to it, is through a strong union movement. And unfortunately for the workers in London at the Caterpillar plant, I don't think the government support was behind them, because that company, they were given bonuses and assistance to buy that plant in London, and what did they return? They actually abused the Canadian government as well as the Canadian worker in that situation.
All right, thank you.